It's May 1st, 2023. Got some ice behind me here, Kenora, Lake of the Woods. If you want to get out in the boat, or if you want to know what the lake looks like so you can get out to your cabin, or if you're just curious about what it looks like up here in Canada on May 1st, we do still have some ice. This is going to be the video for you if you are one of those people, so stick around. Starting off, this is Beach Road in Keewatin. There's not a whole lot left because of the current by the dams in town. So this is about all that's left here. And then next, this is by Kenora on Lakeview Drive. I was really struggling to find any patches of ice. At first glance, you might think the lake is mostly ice-free, but due to the stronger currents around town, it gives a lot of false hope. So if you look closely, there's a little chunk of ice coming up here. If I walk over and zoom in, there's a little chunk of ice just off in the distance, and that's more of what most of the lake looks like. Next, I went over to Darlington Bay, which, if you know the area, is actually the Winnipeg River system. That's what Lake of the Woods flows into. I figured this would give us the best overall understanding of what's going on. There's still some solid ice here, but what's left is super dark and saturated and rotten. You can see here in a second, I zoom in to this ice sheet. We've had some strong winds the past couple of days, and it's been pushing that ice sheet over to the other one. I wouldn't expect this ice to last more than a few days. So back to Lake of the Woods over on the west side of the lake. This is the Kendall Inlet Road looking out onto Kendall Inlet. This is in a back bay, so a lot of the ice is gone here as well. Finally, I made it out to a deep basin of the lake. This is Clearwater Bay. It took a little bit of a drive to get out here, but it's still pretty much completely locked up. You can see around shore there's a lot of open water, but this section of the lake is usually one of the last ones to go. And you can see that there's still solid ice pretty well the entire way. It does look super rotten and saturated, just like it did in Darlington Bay. So it won't last more than, I would say, a week with the forecast coming up, but we'll get back to that in a second. Last year we had the highest recorded water level on Lake of the Woods since 1950, I think it was. This light line on the boathouse shows where the peak was. It's super cool to see the contrast of what a difference in a year makes. So it's really cool to take a drive around and see all this in person, but I get a lot of people asking me and messaging me where I get all my info and the satellite photos and everything all the time. So we'll go through that. We'll start here on the computer, and we'll go to the Lake of the Woods Ice Patrol page. This is where I get most of my info and everything like that. Even the satellite links, this is where I get everything from. So head over here, WordPress. Local pilot from here, his name is Tim Armstrong. He does all this. He actually has a new post today. So we're going to go down to, I believe it's the second photo here, and that's going to show us everything that we looked at today in the video. So starting here in Keewatin, you can see that little piece of ice sheet by the cursor. That's where we started, and that's what we looked at. Heading over to Lakeview Drive, that's the second spot, and then zooming in, you can see that little sheet of ice that we saw. But then we headed over to Darlington Bay, and that's the ice sheet that we saw there. But basically everything else in the area is all open water. So you can see all this. This is Lake of the Woods, and then going up into the Winnipeg River. Those are the two dams there. And that's why all this is open. It's a big bottleneck for the entire lake of current. So heading over to the Kendall Inlet Road now. This is Kendall Inlet. This is that next shot we had. And you can see this entire bay is open, this entire bay is frozen, and that's that last shot that we had at that Clearwater Bay. So next you can see all the ice roads. It's super cool to see from above what that looks like. These are usually the last to go because it's cleared off most of the year, and it freezes a lot better. This is actually the ice road that I plow in the wintertime, which is pretty cool to see. Going over, this is the main ice road that goes down to the States. And gives you a really good look at everything from above. So speaking of above, we're going to head over to the satellite photos now. I always go to the About page. That's where I find it on mobile. So you scroll down to the bottom of the page, you find the satellite pictures link, and hit April 26th, 2022. That's the last one that he has logged there. So this takes you over to the MODIS satellite. This is what I use, which gives the best images by far. It's a little inconsistent, the little here and there, as you'll see starting May 1st today. Um, Sometimes it'll load like this. They just didn't get an image that day, which is kind of unfortunate because it was a super sunny day. So we'll just go back to yesterday, April 30th. Again, sometimes there's cloud cover and sometimes there's like glitchy areas, but it gives you a good idea. So you can see here the Rainy River at the bottom of the lake into the Big Traverse is starting to open up, and everything else over there is super dark. This is a false color, actually. So we're going to head over to the true color, which is the actual straight image, and you can see how dark the ice is over in Whitefish Bay through Sabaskong, and then Big Traverse Bay and up in the Shoal Lake is still pretty white and frozen, as well as in the Manitou. So we'll go back to last year just to contrast some stuff and go to April. I think it was the 22nd. Nope, that one's cloudy. May 1st we'll try. And you basically just have to go trial and error with a bunch of different days to contrast and see what the differences are. So I'm going to hit next day a few times until we get a more clear image here. But again, you can see it's either cloud cover or they didn't get an image. This is a really good one. So we'll stop here. This is May 4th, 2022. So you can see of last year. So you can see how everything looks super white and frozen still. There's some of those current areas that are opened up just like they are this year. But we are much further progressed already. I would say we're about a week in advance to last year. And if you look at, you see all this. Those areas are still white that are pretty dark this year. And again, those current areas are opened up. But if you look to last year, I believe it was May 14th that the ice was officially off the lake and you were able to pretty well boat everywhere. So there's a different website I use sometimes too. It's called NASA Worldview. We're going to go over there and take a look at that. Sometimes when the MODIS satellite misses an image, this one will catch it. So we're going to use this one and zoom in, try to find where Lake of the Woods is. You can see it up in the top there, kind of in the middle of the screen now. I'm just taking a second to find it. And there we go. So we can zoom in. Now this is today. So you can see a lot of those places that were still super white, like Whitefish Bay, Sabaskong Bay, and even the Traverse is a lot more rotten looking. It doesn't look nearly as strong. You can see some of those ice sheets are almost starting to move around, it looks like. And then all the current areas are open up into the Winnipeg River. The Winnipeg River is basically completely open now. But zooming in, just to try and see from the satellite what we're looking at. It's a little blurry, but that's Kenora there and all the open water from the dam. But most of the lake is still locked up. So now we're heading back to the MODIS satellite just to see last year. The most clear picture I could get was May 10th of 2022, and you could see just in those 6 days from May 4th to May 10th just how much the ice melted. So once you get to that turning point of the ice being rotten and you get a good forecast coming up, things can take a turn pretty quickly. So you see the entire area that we were looking at within a week last year, 6 days, completely opened up. And there was still some residual over on Big Traverse and Shoal Lake, but definitely can be traveled to most places. So I would consider that the ice out date from last year actually would be May 10th. So now we'll head over to the forecast, going to the Weather Network, Kenora. I never really believed the weatherman, but we have to look at it just to see. So we'll go to our 14-day forecast. Today, again, is May 1st, so we're looking at this from May 1st, or from May 2nd until May 15th. Starting on Tuesday, you see 14, 17, 14, 12, 12, 15, 15 for daytime highs. But what I like to look at is nighttime. So 3, 4, 4, 5. Those 6-degree nights, those are going to do a lot of damage, especially with the humidity being at 70 and 60%. Just going to zoom into the 14-day forecast now. So you see all those highs. So again, you see all those forecasts going out to Monday the 8th. And the nighttime highs are 6 degrees on the weekend, the Saturday and Sunday, the 6th and the 7th. But the big one I would say would be the 10th, which is 8 degrees at night. I say that's going to be the one that does it. So Thursday, May 11th will be the official ice out date when you'll be able to take a boat anywhere. So thanks for sticking around to the end. Let me know when you think the ice out date might be. Drop it in the comments below. But I'm thinking May 11th is going to be the official one when you can take a boat pretty much anywhere. You can go to your cottage. You can go fishing. Keep in mind, walleye season's not open yet. But yeah, that's the exciting day. May 11th. That's what I'm calling it.